everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the live trade stream. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia. With me, of course, is the Undertaker himself, Andrew Erickson. And it's you hanging out with us here on the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Don't forget to like the stream. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to drop your comments below. It's time to move and shake. The bye weeks are here. Andrew is going to help everybody make the right moves at the right time. And Andrew, speaking of making the right moves at the right time, it's also a bit of strategy, looking ahead to bye weeks, understanding maybe some teams that are going in the right direction, some situations are going in the weird direction, and then Davante Adams, a guy that I don't know what direction he's going in. So what is the outlook in week 5 when you're trying to make deals?
Well, I think one of the things you can do is look at the teams that are on bye weeks, especially with some of these high-powered offenses like the Detroit Lions, like the Philadelphia Eagles, where some managers are making tough decisions. Should I hold on to Dallas Goedert? I need a tight end. Can I roster him? The other Eagles guys are coming back. You may see him hit the waivers. You also make these guys, they're more attainable because they haven't been top of mind. So I think that targeting some of these players on the bye week teams between the Titans, probably not the Titans, the Chargers, the Lions, and the Eagles, the better of the offenses that are on bye, I think that's a good strategy because there are teams that see no value in those players this particular week, especially if you were hurting for you don't need wins right now. You can take on a guy that is on a bye week that you don't need their immediate production from. I think can be a savvy strategy to get a potential deal on a player that otherwise would be worth a lot more just because, hey, they're going to score 0 points. But hey, you know they're going to score 0 points. So at least you have that advantage where you're not forced to start them and take a bagel like you are doing with basically Dolphins players at this point. So I think that's an interesting strategy, especially with certain players like Olave McConkey, right? Hasn't been super flashy. I know Welsh talked about him specifically as a buy, and I agree. Not the flashiest player. The Chargers offense has been kind of unexciting, but his target share is way up there, top 15 in the NFL. So that's an interesting kind of player to look at least when you're looking at the bye weeks.
No, absolutely. Also looking ahead to, certain situations, going back to those Eagles for a moment, Dallas Goedert obviously got a huge uptick in work, but when they come out of the bye, and you hope A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are all back, and then Saquon Barkley is the other guy who gets involved in the passing game. I think Goddard could regress a little bit. So there's certain moments here where maybe some guys have put out the best they possibly could in terms of fantasy output in the month of September. Keep that in mind as you're looking ahead to October. And as we look ahead to your questions, don't forget when you drop your questions below and you subscribe to the channel, we've got another incredible giveaway. We're giving away the Trophy Smack Large Fantasy Football Wall Smack. That's right. We've teamed up with our friends over at Trophy Smack to give away something truly epic this week. A large fantasy football wall smack of your choosing. The Andrew Erickson one is sold out, so you can't get the Erickson. The Joe Pizzapia, I think there's 3 left. These magnetic metal wall plaques aren't just wall art. They are statement pieces that let everybody know how passionate you are about fantasy football and whether or not you are going to leave the house at all this fall, or you're just going to sit at home and watch football and pretty much just set lineups all the time. But again, the wall smack is a perfect addition to any fan cave. To enter right now, drop a comment below, subscribe to the channel. That's it. That's all you got to do. And we'll be announcing the winner right here on the channel. So make sure you turn on those notifications, ring that bell till it goes ding, so you can get the latest Trophy Smack giveaway. All right, Andrew Erickson, let's kick things off with the questions. Let's go to Chev. How are we feeling about Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill for Breece Hall and Chris Godwin? What side of this deal do you want to be on, Andrew Erickson?
I think I want to be on the Breece Hall and Chris Godwin side.
I'm going to stick with my boy Derrick Henry, and I'm going to hope that Tyreek Hill gets better. I understand why you want to be on the other side, but week 8 is when Tua might come back. Maybe can we coast by? Can Tyreek Hill give me a play or two in the next couple of weeks? Maybe he can. This depends on record too. If you're really hurting right now, if you're an 0-4 team, then Hall and Godwin get you some immediate help. But I can't imagine you lost last week if you had Derrick Henry. Let's go to next question here from Try. Full PPR, should I trade Brandon Aiyuk for Davante Adams?
So it's funny he brings this up because I have Davante Adams and I'm trying to trade him away to get Brandon Aiyuk because, look, he's going to get traded. I feel pretty confident that he's going to get moved. Which team he goes to, we're still not sure. I guess for me, I would rather be on the Aiyuk side here because I know what team he's on. I know he's going to be on the 49ers. I know he's going to have massive games at some point, and I'm not worried about that. With Adams, if he goes to the Jets, I don't like that. I don't want him on the Jets, but that's probably where he's going to end up going. Either there or the Saints. The Saints probably be a little bit better, but I mean, this was kind of rumored to happen last year, right? Or in the offseason. It was going to be a Jet. Rodgers loves him. And you look at the optics. Well, you know who knows Mike Williams? Tom Telesco, the former general manager of the Chargers, now the general manager of the Raiders. Hey.
Oh, you think that's the deal?
I mean,
Interesting.
Part of the deal. I mean, they need something else back. And there's no point in having Mike Williams, Lazard, Garrett Wilson, and Davante Adams on the team, right? What's the point of having those 4 receivers? So you just send off Mike Williams, your draft pick, and you get Davante Adams back in the deal, and he takes on that Mike Williams role in the Jets offense. So for me, I don't like that. So I'd rather have Brandon Aiyuk because I just feel like there's less volatility with him. I know he's good in this offense. I don't have to worry about what's the targets going to be like. What's the offense going to be like? 49ers offense is great. And Aiyuk has just been kind of a slow starter. So for me, it's
slow. It's pretty slow, dude. He's wide receiver 60 right now. Just saying,
right, like that's not gonna be him all season, unless you think.
I will roll the dice with Davante Adams happy somewhere else in the next 2 weeks. I will roll the dice.
What's Davante Adams? He's got to be like wide receiver 62, right? He didn't play last week. I mean, he's had one good game.
He has had one good game. That's one more than Aiyuk has had. But where he ends up is certainly going to be interesting, and it's definitely going to be somewhere else. I think it just feels as though, you know,
he's not going to the he's gone from the Raiders. We agree on that. He's not going to be on the Raiders. He's done.
You know, hot take here. Okay. Maybe there's a team outside the box here that we're not thinking about. Maybe it's a team like the Ravens, who really have not had a true.
Why would the Ravens do that? Makes no sense.
I'm just saying
the Ravens don't even throw the ball.
Well, they don't throw the ball because Zay Flowers is their number 1 wide receiver. I think if you have Davante Adams, things are different.
They don't throw the ball because they have Derrick Henry. We've been watching Derrick Henry all week.
I know. Look, dude, nobody loves it more than me, but
I know.
I'm just saying, don't count out the Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't count out some like shadow team. I like the Washington stuff. I think Washington is a very interesting club right now. So that's one that I think could have fun implications there. You put him with Jayden Daniels, you know, that's a team right now that's on the upswing. It would not shock me. Tyler wants to know, I have Bowers and Pitts. What can I get for Pitts, or am I stuck with him rest of season? I think you get something for Pitts right now. There's a lot of teams with tight end problems. I think you could probably get a low end, you know, low mid wide receiver 3 kind of guy. I mean, would you take Jacoby Myers for Pitts? Is that a good deal for you?
I would, but I don't know who's going to do that.
Somebody might.
I think Pitts is hitting the waiver. You hear that? That's Pitts hitting the waiver wire. He's getting cut from most rosters. So yeah, if you can deal him off, do it. But if not, just take someone better on the waiver wire. Honestly.
Can you get Waddle for him?
I don't know, because at least Waddle has hope. like what's the Kyle Pitts hope? He doesn't
I'm giving that situation some more time. I'm just giving it more time. Zach wants to know, hey pros, I need some advice. Full PPR got offered JT for AJ Brown. I could use another RB, but I'm hesitant because of the ankle. Should I make the trade or keep AJ Brown? I'm keeping AJ Brown, Zach. I am not touching Jonathan Taylor. He's hurt all the time. And it's not the first ankle issue either. I mean, I'm out. Give me AJ Brown every day on this one. He'll be back in a week. Just suck it up for another week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I definitely want the wide receiver here. I think that, and this is like an overarching point I was starting to think about. If you look at a lot of these running backs that went later in drafts, they fell because there were concerns about, oh, how long do these guys hold up? Then they've been healthy throughout the month of September. Look, guys like Kamara, Aaron Jones, James Conner, these guys are on pace for like 350 touches, right? And again, I didn't mention Derrick Henry because he's the exception, because he can actually do that. So I'm just to be clear. But those other guys,
great though, dude. I mean, he looks spry.
Kamara, or just Jones? Yeah, I mean, but they all look good because they've played a month of football. They're not 12 weeks into the season.
Kamara also missed a month of football last year, healthy. And I think sometimes that goes a long way for certain players. The older players, when you have those, you know, he had that suspension and he didn't have quite the full wear and tear. And I wonder if that's kind of why he looks a little bit better in the early going this year so far, at least.
All I'm saying is with those guys I just kind of listed off, Kamara, Jones, Connor, like we know these guys have injury histories, right? And if you could trade one of them now at their peak because they're healthy and people are losing confidence, right? You're starting to see, oh, Trey Benson's getting dropped. You're seeing the backup handcuffs get dropped because we're confident that, oh, these guys are going to be here for all year long. And that usually doesn't end up happening. So if you can move these guys for some of these receivers, like an AJ Brown, some of these other receivers that have underperformed to start the year that we were drafting over some of these running backs who went later in drafts, then I think that might be the right move to make.
It's funny you say that because in 2 leagues where Benson got dropped, I picked him up. because
because people are losing the faith because James Conner, he's never going to lose the job. But we do this every year. He plays 10 weeks and then he gets banged up, and then Trey Benson,
or maybe he could get traded. I mean, it's not like James Conner couldn't get traded to a team too.
He's in a contract year, so yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Anish Mahan, someone is offering me Hall and Nacua for Gibbs and Pittman. What do you think? Breece Hall and Puka Nacua for Gibbs and Pittman. My struggle with this is Hall has not looked great, but still, like I get this. I understand the intrigue for this one, but I don't know when Puka Nacua comes back and how that looks. So I'm keeping Gibbs and Pittman. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think I agree. Right now, I think that I don't know what Nacua is going to be when he comes back, if he comes back. So I'm very concerned about that. And right now, the gap between Hall and Gibbs seems non-existent, to be honest. I mean, Gibbs is playing better, so.
Pittsburgh fan, thoughts on Kyler Murray rest of season? Should I try to package him in a deal for a QB upgrade? It's tough to do it off last week. Like, that's not time to do it. So rest of season, I think he'll be fine. He's going to have some up games, some down games. Now, is this the week to do it against the 49ers? Maybe. Historically, he's had some moments against the 49ers where he's been a little tougher than people might realize. So I think I wait on this. I don't think you can pull it off right now. But who would you rather have rest of season, Kyler Murray or Patrick Mahomes?
Mahomes.
Okay.
Is
it close?
Yeah, I think it's close. I was going to actually throw out, would you rather have Kyler Murray or Jordan Love?
Oh, Jordan Love. That's zero chill for me. I'm a huge Jordan Love guy to begin the year with. So Mason wants to know, is it too early to trade Olave for Tyreek? To a new circling, he says.
It depends on what your record is. If you're 4-0, be my guest. But if you need wins right now, you can't have Dolphins on your team. so yeah.
I'm just trying to look ahead and say, do I want Tyreek Hill weeks 8 through 16? The answer is yes. Like, I'm going to try to do that as best I can. But you're right. If you're an 0 for a 1-win team, that's a tough sell. Yeah, Joe S. What's up, pros? Blockbuster alert. Uh-oh, here we go. Which side do you want? Jonathan Taylor, Higgins, and Kmet, or Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, and Najee Harris?
I'm taking the Tyreek side.
Taking the Tyreek side, too.
Yep.
That's where I'm at with this one. I'm not a JT guy to begin with, and another year, another injury. Same old. Kiko, Legette, or Waddle? I'm still taking Waddle. Let's not go crazy here.
Apparently, Diontae Johnson's on the injury report this week. So.
I know. I like Legette.
I'm taking Legette. I mean, what faith do we have in the Dolphins? What else do we need to see from just to sit them? Don't play them.
I think you got to give Tyler Huntley more than a week with the playbook. Like, I think that's tough, dude. Barely any practice and then come in. I think it's very hard to do that. Sean Miller, should I trade Diontae Johnson for Jayden Reed? If you can, good for you.
Yeah.
But I doubt you could pull that off. But 100% yes. Tokeshi, should I trade Derrick Henry for Bijan and full point PPR? No. Yards are yards, touchdowns are touchdowns. I say no. Erickson, what say you?
I mean, I'm going to say yes, but I'm probably wrong. So
never trade the king. Always keep the king. Ricardo Castillo, is a Courtland, Sutton, and Dalton Kincaid for James Cook a fair trade?
I don't think it's a fair trade. Look, it's whenever there's two.
It's not a trade that's going to get vetoed, which is dumb anyway. No one should ever do that, but it's not a good trade for the person giving up Cook.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fair value trade, but if it's a situation where the Cook manager has a ton of running backs, James Cook's on his bench, and he needs a tight end, then
let's say they had or they had like Rushy Rice and Puka Nacua, and they're just hurting it.
So much of whether a trade is fair or not is less about the trade in a vacuum, where you can see that at least in that one, the values are definitely skewed towards the Cook side. But if the other player doesn't have a tight end and they get Kincaid and his starting lineup is significantly better,
eye of the beholder,
then that makes it fair.
Bradley Davis, I was offered Achane for Deebo. In a vacuum, who do you want? Achane or Deebo rest of season?
I'm going to go with your logic here. And it's like, who would I rather have weeks 8 through 16? And I'm going to say Achane. So,
yeah, let's go. I'm buying on the Dolphins. After the show, I'm going to make you an offer for all your Waddle shares in every league we're in. So think about what you want. If you want to be preemptive, you want to send me the trades, that's fine too. We can negotiate off there. Very easy to deal with. So yes, let's go. I'm gonna make a couple of espresso martinis for Andrew Erickson after the show. Next thing you know, he's gonna trade me all his Dolphins. Jacob Brown, Zay Flowers for Josh Jacobs. I mean, it's a fair trade. This is fine. I mean, I'd rather have Flowers.
You mean
Jacobs.
the number 2 receiver behind Davante Adams on the Ravens?
There
I think this is a fair. I like both guys. I think both guys are buys. So you need a running back, receiver. I like the move.
you go. Everybody wins. Claude. Should I? You don't hear a lot of Claudes nowadays. Not as common of a name. More Claudes. Should I trade Mason to get Achane, or is CMC not a factor and I should keep Mason? If you're asking me, CMC is not a factor this year. I'd be shocked if we see him at all. Every week it's something else. I sat here on the show yesterday. First it was the calf, then it was the calf and the Achilles tendonitis, then it's in the other Achilles, and then yesterday he had hoof and mouth disease, and then tomorrow it's gingivitis, and then the next day he's got a rash. Every day we learn something new about Christian McCaffrey's ailments. So no. What are you somebody who's risking it all to get CMC or get rid of Mason? I'm not getting rid of Mason.
No, just this Mason thing. He is the carbon copy of James Conner from a couple years ago when Le'Veon Bell never came back. That's Mason this year. So I would just stay in the flames and don't give up the guy that, again, it's him and Derrick Henry that are fighting for the NFL leading in rushing, right? Who would have thought Jordan Mason, right?
I love it. I've got him and Henry on the same team in that Superflex league. I'm trying to remember though, when you go through, I remember I outbid Deebo for him in that league.
Mason?
But I can't remember for how much. I mean, and I think it was like a couple dollars, and he was really salty about it. So that makes it even better. Let's see. It was a $9 bid, and Deebo bid $7. So there you go. I was like, that's fun. It's the small joys
Deebo,
of
that
life.
cheapskate.
Cheapo. What are you doing? Why are you cheaping out, bro? What are you doing here? Seriously. Good times. All right, let's get to Daniel's question. Addison and Legette for Jayden Reed. Love this trade. Get me Jayden Reed. I want Jayden Reed on my team. It's a perfect time because Legette had a touchdown. Everyone's talking about him. Addison is pretty touchdown dependent for his value. I love this trade. This is a perfect trade to pull off, Daniel, if you can.
I love this trade. Do you know where Jayden Reed is in the ECR rankings for this week?
Off the top of my head, no. I imagine he should be top 12.
He's 7.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Against the Rams.
If you can move Addison and Legette for wide receiver 7 this week, please do that.
Dude, he might be wide receiver 10 by the time the year's over.
I mean, he's averaging 138.5 yards per game with Jordan Love.
Unbelievable, dude. You know what? I think that's the biggest swing and miss. I was going down that, Watson's the more talented guy in a vacuum. And I should just stuck with what was working. Sometimes you just look at and let the quarterback tell you who the guy he wants to go find. And I think a lot of us did that too. I think a lot of us in this community was saying, the Jayden Reed stuff was fun, but if Watson's on the field, maybe it changes. I don't think it does. And Watson can't stay on the field, so it doesn't matter. Freddie Saporito, how you doing? What do we do with Bijan Robinson? You hold or you buy. That's all I can say.
Hold or buy. He's gonna have a big game on Thursday.
Dude, I'm looking forward to that one. Give me the Mike Evans over and the touchdown. Let's go. Neil P, time to panic on Achane. No, not for me. I'd be buying.
I think that you don't want to panic because we know there's an out. We know the clear out. Week 8. You just got to get to week 8 with these Dolphins players. So
AC wants to know trade Nabers for Tyreek Hill and Najee. No, this is a hard no for me. Nabers is working and Najee's not, and you're getting that backfield with Jaylen Warren now. So how that works out, he's going to start losing some touches. If I look up at the end of the year, Nabers is ahead of Tyreek Hill in fantasy points. That would not shock me in the slightest, Erickson. So I'm a hard no on this one.
So you think Nabers will outscore Tyreek weeks 8 through 16?
No, but if Nabers plays this week and is healthy, I think that accumulation of the next 3 to 4 weeks might be enough to sustain him over Hill. If Nabers continues to do what he's doing and Hill keeps doing what he's doing, and then eventually everything kind of, rises up a little bit, or even he goes above, I just wonder by the time we count all the points at the end, that Tyreek Hill might be a little shy. And that's saying that Tua comes back and he plays the rest of the season healthy.
Yeah. And the Dolphins,
I
know we talk about week 8 being that escape route, but the Dolphins schedule was much easier in the first half of the year. The second half of the year, it gets cold out. So even with Tua back, we may have to adjust some expectations. So yeah, I think Nabers is the move there still.
All right. Give me Nabers. Kronk Who would you rather rest of season? Boy, a lot of Tyreek. This is the week to trade Tyreek Hill, everybody. Wee wee. This is the alert.
And you
This
buy
is
him.
it. It's happening. Buy him within reason. Don't trade Malik Nabers for him. Rest of season, Tyreek Hill or Jayden Reed?
Jayden Reed, I would not trade for Derrick Hill. So
Agreed. There you go. Wow, what a difference a year makes. Trade Etienne for Aiyuk. This is from Dylan. This is fair. This is just eye of the beholder to me.
Yeah.
This is roster-based kind of trading.
They're
right
two
there.
guys that were drafted pretty close to each other and that have both been bad. So yeah, I think it's pretty fair market value for both guys.
Now, if we don't get to your question today, don't forget the waiver assistant is here to help you, as well as, of course, the trade assistant. So many pieces here. The trade analyzer is one of the tools over on Fantasy Pros, my playbook on the suite of tools. We always talk about the waiver assistant. We talk about the trade analyzer, talk about the start sit tool. All these are available over on my playbook. So if you haven't already, download my playbook or go to fantasypros.com/my playbook and let the trade analyzer help find, the value there for you. And the trade finder tool will come up with trades maybe you never even thought of. So it's a great way to kind of supplement some of the advice you get here from all the articles and everything you read at Fantasy Pros and all the podcast stuff you listen to, and tailor it specifically to your league. So again, sync all your leagues for free. If you haven't done that yet, I don't know what you're waiting for, especially with bye weeks coming up. This is the time. Like, don't be lazy. It takes literally like 10 seconds to sync your leagues with my playbook. Sync them all, set your lineups from one spot, and let the trade analyzer work for you. Next up here, we have another question this is from Caleb. Caleb wants to know, as a Hubbard owner, should I be worried or looking into trading for Brooks soon? We've been going back and forth. I know I've had my opinion on Brooks. I've shared it with Bogman and Welsh on Out of Bounds, where it feels like, to me, Brooks is one of these slow burn guys. Maybe by the time you get to week 10 or 11, he's a guy you can consider starting in your lineup. Chuba's played very well. Guys coming off these surgeries, typically, it's a slow go. I would be very cautious about this situation, generally speaking. Could it be more of like a redshirt year for Brooks when all said and done? Maybe. But where are you at between the Brooks and Hubbard value? Are you trying to get rid of Hubbard right now because he's at his peak?
No, because everybody has these concerns, right? That Caleb's bringing up. Everybody knows that Brooks is coming back, so you're not going to get a fair price for Hubbard based on what he's doing on the field. So for those reasons, just keep him and make Brooks beat you, right? Make Brooks earn his way into the starting lineup, take Hubbard's job, and become the starting running back for the Panthers. So until that happens, I'd rather just hold Hubbard and start him every week.
Well, let's say you have Hubbard, but if Brooks is on the waiver wire, would you add him?
Yes. Yeah. If Brooks should not be on the waiver wire. No.
If you get Brooks in a trade as a throw-in, would you be more apt to want to make that move just to capture the backfield?
I guess I'm just concerned about how tightly the manager, again, if they drafted Brooks, they drafted him with this in their mind, right? So unless they're 0-4.
Well, I was going to say record dictates a lot of how you feel right now.
And
so McKevin Cendric Samadan, Nabers for Justin Jefferson. Well, Justin Jefferson is untouchable. So, I mean, if you could do it, good for you. But
people love rookies.
I can't.
I mean, Nabers has more points up to this point.
I want Sam Darnold to beat the Jets so bad this week. I'm so bummed that game is in London. I'm so irritated about that. It sucks. I want that guy to go.
He's already won in MetLife. He's already won in MetLife this year. He beat the Giants.
He's winning at life this year, Sam Darnold. Fun fact about Sam Darnold. I got this. I just pulled this. I was doing some research. Ready for this? See, Joey P doing Sam Darnold, the first quarterback to win his first 4 games ever with a new team and throw 2 touchdowns in each one of those games. How's that for a stat? You like that? You're supposed to say yes. Very excited.
He's crushing it. I still have this PSA Sam Darnold Prism rookie card that people are interested. I'm looking to sell, baby. We're talking.
Andrew's on eBay right after the show. Grant Waddle for Chase Brown, half PPR. I think it's selling Waddle too cheap for personally.
Yeah, I think I'd keep Waddle.
Jeremy Alexander, Etienne or for Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I think I would take the Jameson Williams side.
Yeah, he's finally like, man, I have him in my dynasty league and it's been a rough couple years. I'm not going to lie. I mean, between the injuries and the scandals and the inconsistencies, and to start the year, I was like, I didn't even want to put him in my lineup. I was like, well, he's just going to sit on my bench. I'm just going to wait. And it finally feels like all that patience is paying off. And geez, a long time. Jackie's question, standard league. Would you trade Evans and Olave for Ja'Marr Chase? Giving up a
Standard
lot of
league.
depth. I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, how do you view? So the thing with Evans is, I think Evans has a lot of value specifically in standard because he's
Yeah.
a touchdown machine. That's
100%.
what Evans does. And so even though Olave is not really a touchdown guy per se, I kind of agree with you. Usually, I would always pick Chase in this situation, but Evans and Olave, those are fringe. I mean, Evans is a wide receiver 1, and Olave is a high 2, so it's a lot.
Here's what I'd say about this. Like, if let's say you had Malik Nabers on your team too, or you got Terry McLaurin late and that's looking good now, or you've had some good drafting where things have gone well, you picked up guys that have gone well, and you have a lot of depth, then I understand going for Ja'Marr Chase, because I do think he's more likely to win you weeks on his own. But then you have to understand, when you move Evans and Olave, then through these bye weeks, it's going to be tougher. And then what does that wide receiver roster room look like? Also, if it's a 2 wide receiver league versus a 3 wide receiver league, that's something I think you need to think about too, Erickson, right? Like in a 2 wide receiver league, I think I'm more apt to make this deal and get Jahmyr.
Yes. Yeah, I would
Like I
agree.
want that guy, which 2 wide receiver leagues. Why? What are we doing? Let's go to Always Be Great. Record is 2-2. Someone is scared of Tyreek Hill. Should I trade Marvin Harrison Jr. for Tyreek?
I don't think so.
Falls over Andrew Erickson.
Joe, you're the Marvin Harrison guy.
I am. I don't think so either.
Okay.
But this is the kind of deal, because it gives me such pause and you such pause. It means it's a good compromise, which means it's probably a fair trade. Like that's probably what it takes to get Tyreek Hill. If I am a team that's rolling right now, maybe, and I've got a good team, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get to the playoffs. I want Tyreek Hill in the playoffs. If I am hurting right now, I just stay the course of Marvin Harrison the next couple weeks and hope to pull out of it. That's kind of where I am. But it's definitely, that's the neighborhood. That's the neighborhood. Let's go to Jacob's question here. Zay Flowers and Braylon Allen for Josh Jacobs.
Well, we talked about Zay Flowers to Jacobs
Yeah.
was a good trade. I mean, I don't love like having to throw Allen in the move, but Jacobs is a better running back start weekly than Allen
0
is.
touchdowns
So
on the year too. Is that bothering you?
Jacobs?
Yeah.
I think it's more of a, hey, this guy's just been really unlucky and it's going to happen sooner rather. I mean, the Packers.
Well, it is the Rams.
Touchdowns.
If it's going to happen, this is the week, right?
I hope so.
Marco's question: Tank Dell and Pitts for Laporta.
Yes.
Yes.
Just get out of it. So this is a Pitts trade. So yeah, with Pitts, you got to, going back to an older question, you got to package him with somebody else. So no one's looking at the Pitts. They're just looking at Dell, and then they just throw Kyle Pitts in.
That's another guy too. People are out. I've seen a lot of people. Tank Dell.
He's a buy. Yeah, he's a buy.
He's an interesting buy right now. Brady Bijan for Mike Evans and Montgomery.
I'm going to say no. I'll keep.
You don't want to. That's not enough for Bijan for you.
I know. I think it's enough. I think that's a fair deal, but I'm not going to sell out on a guy that we looked at as a top 3 consensus pick because he just hasn't smashed. It's been 4 weeks. It's a new offense.
Brady, I'd say this. If you have a team that's been riddled with injuries and you need some bodies here, these are 2 quality bodies that you could start every week and feel good about. Especially in a half PPR where touchdowns matter a little bit more. I could see it. Like I'm trying to find ways where that deal makes sense. B Money, Aiyuk and Waddle for AJ Brown.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, I want AJ Brown. That's what I want. Next up is Dylan, Etienne for Aiyuk. Waddle is killing me.
You're telling me.
I can't imagine the Waddle Andrews combo on a couple of your teams just absolutely.
Oh, it's not good.
It's murder right now. That's my Christian Watson shares with Rashad White. Some of those teams, brutal, just brutal. It happens. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and that's why you play the waivers and you try to get depth.
And
that's why you draft depth. Yeah,
he's your run-of-the-mill RB2. That's what he is.
Etienne and Aiyuk are 2 guys that haven't been great, but they were drafted close to each other. So yeah, if you need a receiver, it's the move to make.
Jen Richard, one of our favorites here at the show. Hey guys, trade Hall for Connor and DK full PPR.
No, I'm not trading. I think we're giving up on Breece Hall and Bijan.
People are frustrated after last week. No, I get it. I'm just saying they are.
I know, but that's why I think it's an opportunity to buy these guys. They were at the top of the board all offseason, and there's 4 weeks. Quarterbacks coming off torn Achilles, and we're already big. Well, Bijan's a bust. Breece is a bust. They're going to lose their jobs. Their backups look better than they do. They're washed. I just don't think that that's going to be the rest of the season. So Bijan and Breece, I'm holding them and I'm trying to buy them. But I have Breece everywhere. So along with all my Jaylen, Waddle, and Mark Andrews teams.
All right. Another great way to get in touch with us is not just the live streams here, obviously, over at Fantasy Pros. Our Discord is a great way to ask questions. We have AMAs going on. We have live interactions. We have our private channels too. And we also record shows there on our Discord. So if you haven't already, join us at fantasypros.com/chat. Betting Pros has a Discord as well, along with Fantasy Pros. It's a great way, again, to get more access to us. And if you want to be a part of the shows like Out of Bounds with Bogman, Welsh, and myself, Mondays at 2 Eastern, Welsh and Erickson on Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern, Worm and Fitz, 5 Eastern, the first Tuesday of every month. So let's see, that was yesterday. That was yesterday, I think. Yes. That was the first. And then Fitz and Boggs on the third Tuesday of every month. So you got to set your Tuesday schedule. But regardless, there's a lot of ways to interact and hang out with us on Discord. So join today and become part of our fantasy fanatic community. All right, let's go to Sir Hayward Jablumi. Classic. I guess he is present here in the classroom. Trade Kamara. That's right. I read it on the thing. Trade Kamara for Connor and Aiyuk. It's not his fault that that's his last name.
Oh, man.
He's a knight. So they lost Rushy Rice, Kamara for Connor and Aiyuk.
I think that this is the right approach. If you're the Rice manager, you have to take one of your elite assets and break it up into two good, maybe not elite assets to make up for your void with Rashi Rice. So I think that this is a smart move. Again, you don't like having to trade Kamara because he's looked great and he's involved in the passing game, but you have a major hole in your roster now without Rice. So,
you know, my favorite thing is, I mean, I'm sure like we get thousands of questions, a week, but when you answer someone's question about a trade, you're like, I just don't like this trade, and then they get like, well, why? Well, and then you explain it. He goes, but
did you think about this?
Like, if you want to make this trade, you can make this trade. You asked me my opinion of this trade. I gave you my opinion of this trade. You asked me for reasons. I even gave you reasons for free. And yet you still want to make the trade, then make the trade. Like, that's okay. What you're looking for is approval. There's a difference. I'm not going to just blindly approve everything. Speaking of approval, Bijan Robinson is off the injury report, everybody. Woo! He's going to be good to go for Thursday. That just came in on my playbook. So again, this is why you sync your leagues. From Will, trade Deebo for Aaron Jones. You want to do that?
Yeah, I would take the Jones side there.
Okay. Yeah. What about Rogue Gaming? Connor for Metcalf. I want Metcalf.
Yeah. So this would be a good example of how you can sell high on a guy like James Conner. And I mean, you're getting someone that's been super productive with DK Metcalf. So yeah.
Kobe Obi. Sell high on Kelsey or hold. I don't know if you're selling high on Kelsey. I don't know. The way tight end has gone, I'm just holding Erickson. Like, he might finish top 5 just by default this year.
Yeah, the tight end with selling high on Kelsey, I get the play, but it also goes back to, so sell high for what? So, like, what's your answer at tight end?
We're selling high because he had one decent game. I mean,
I think I would just, hey, be happy that you have Kelsey and that he's going to have to be more involved no matter what. So even if he's double covered, whereas Mahomes going to throw the ball too, he has
to. Andrew Erickson, where's Kelsey ranked this week in the rankings? I know. Do you?
He's
week 5.
1, I think, right?
He is tight end 1.
Yeah. He's not tight end 1 for me, but
it's fair, but he's tight end 1. Like, if you look at this ridiculousness at tight end, I mean, what are we doing here?
Well, Dallas Goedert's on bye week, so
Dallas Goedert got the most mid of all fantasy
tight ends and targets and yards.
Yeah,
one game.
Rogelio Rosales
likely still in the top 10 after doing nothing after 1 week.
Josh Jacobs and T. Higgins for Breece Hall. If you could do it, good for you.
Yeah, love it.
That's the whole trade I want to make. Alex, AJ Brown for Bijan. I'm sorry, for Brian Robinson Jr. No, what? No, stop, bro.
I don't think it's worth a bro.
AJ Brown is a first-round pick. Brian Robinson Jr. is an RB2.
Hey, I drafted AJ Brown, and I'm 0-4 because he hasn't played in 3 weeks.
I don't care. And when he comes, he was great in the first week.
I know, and then he hasn't played.
So you're 1-3. That's what you should be. You should be 1-3. I don't care. I think this is incredible. That's how you lose fantasy leagues. Like, that's not enough value. Brian Robinson Jr. just to get a W. And then what? And then you're going to have to miss him on his bye eventually. And then it's just a downward spiral of crap. Just hold AJ Brown. And if you're going to trade him, get something substantial for him.
What if it
Who
was
would you rather the rest of the season? AJ Brown or Tyreek Hill?
Oh, AJ Brown.
Right. Easy.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. All right. How about this? What do we do with Garrett Wilson? This is from Travis. You hold. You have no choice, or you buy low.
So I think Garrett Wilson, it reminds me a lot of last year with CeeDee Lamb, where for the first 6 weeks, he was a mess and he wasn't really productive. And then what did he do? They started using him in more unique ways. They figured out how to use him better in the offense. And then he was a wide receiver 1 the rest of the way. So
problem is the offensive coordinator is a clown in the New York Jets. I don't think he's clever enough to figure that out.
Well, I'm just saying right now is not the time to sell Garrett Wilson. There will be a time.
No, it's a time to buy him.
Yeah,
Garrett Wilson. Now's a great time to buy him, especially with all this Davante Adams panic that's going on there. I'd be buying Garrett Wilson, and I've been trying to do it, knowing that last week was going to be a complete disaster because of the Patrick Surtain matchup. Like you knew what was coming there, right? So you figure you just wait for that. Okay, it was even worse than you could have imagined. Awesome. And then the Davante Adams rumors on top of it. I'm buying Garrett Wilson wherever I can right now. Like that's an easy one for me. And I don't think he's as good of a player as CeeDee Lamb is. Like I don't think he has got the physical prowess to dominate the way CeeDee Lamb has. But Andrew's got a point there, which is I think the last 8 games are going to be better than the first 8 games for him. If we're talking about where we're at. Billy Biceps. Wasn't that your nickname in high school, Erickson? Aiyuk for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I would take Tyreek Hill.
Yes, give me Tyreek Hill. That's a deal you could probably pull off right now with frustration. Do I accept this? I'm giving up Mason and McLaurin for Breece Hall. No. Hard no. Daniel, I'm not giving up Hall and McLaurin for Mason. I think I'm not giving up Mason and McLaurin for Breece Hall. I'm not doing that. I'm a hard no. Erickson's probably a yes.
Yep. Yes for me.
Look, Mason is going to be in the top 5 in rushing when all said and done this year. McLaurin looks like a really steady high-end wide receiver too, now that Jayden Daniels has his feet under him. And, Breece Hall, I understand the talent of Breece Hall, but I think you have to keep in mind there's other forces at work with the New York Jets every year. And I don't think people take that into account enough. I've lived a very long time in the New York tri-state area. The Jets are going to find a way to jet. He is RB 16 on the year. He has 174 yards rushing. Derrick Henry had 199 last week. Just saying.
Breece Hall also has the most targets running backs. All running backs.
Yes, but when Davante Adams shows up, then all those targets go away.
But then he's going to get more touchdown opportunities because the team's never going to stop scoring.
So what you're telling me is that what Aaron Rodgers needs is Davante Adams and Alan Lazard. Can we call Jordy Nelson up, see what he's doing? He's busy right now? I think
Randall Cobb's probably more ready to go. He's a little bit more spry.
Maybe. Well, they tried that too.
Wasn't Randall Cobb on the Jets last year?
Yeah, yes, he was. He didn't know, but he was there. Nobody told him. Jameson Williams and Ramondre Stevenson for Jayden Reed. Jose Morales, I would do this deal if you could do it. It's a lot to give.
Yeah, Ramondre is
a throw in with Reed. Yeah, Ramondre is in trouble.
It's a potential code red. I think this is his last shot. Because I think what the coaches can try and do, and this is referring to Gerard Mayo talking about how his job security, and they might go to Gibson if he fumbles again.
Yeah, I read that.
This is kind of similar to what we saw last week with Swift, right? They're talking about getting Roshan going. Oh, what do you know? They talked to the backup, and then the starter played way better, right? So this is kind of.
So would you be buying Stevenson because of that?
I think that it's because you can probably buy him dirt cheap, but there's also a ton of risk involved because you could buy an asset even if you buy it cheap, and then it could turn to zero if he loses his job, and then you're left with kind of nothing. So I think it's extremely risky, but if you're willing to embrace the variance, and if you're a believer in Ramondre, I personally am, then again, there's also the fact they also put David Andrews on injured reserve today. So the offensive line is even worse than it was to start the year. So again,
I didn't think that was possible. Yeah. Slitty, B-Rob Jr. Higgins for Breece Hall. Now that's a move I would make for Breece Hall.
Okay.
That I'm like,
yeah. This one is much better than the Mason one.
Yeah. Mason and McLaurin. You don't
I
know.
mean, I don't think
Jaden Daniels might continue to get better and better all year, and McLaurin could end up as a top 10 wideout for all we know.
All right, I'll change my mind then. I would keep
I'm
the
just saying, it's
Mason
like,
and McLaurin
I,
side.
I mean,
I mean, as an advocate as I am for buying Breece Hall, I don't want to sell Mason. So those things are
right.
both true. So in that particular deal, then yeah, I guess I'm really more on the
Right.
Mason side.
I love it when I
Hey,
just
I
beat
just
you into
want to be
submission.
right at the end of the day. And if you got to convince me, then yes, we're all better
That's what
off.
I'm here to do. I'm here to convince Andrew Erickson. Brittany Smalls, trade Rico for Charbonnet or hold on to Rico. No, I'm holding Rico. Rico has more standalone value potential in the next couple weeks, where Charbonnet's value right now is again tied to another Walker injury. He's a good insurance policy if you have Walker, but I want Rico. What do you want?
If I had Walker, I'm getting Charbonnet on my team. I got to have him. So, because we've done this Walker song and dance every single year. He gets hurt, smashes, scores 3 touchdowns, then we don't see him again for 5 weeks. And he comes back.
Honestly, how great was he
smashes.
though on Monday night? Like how amazing was that
I know a
broken
lot of
tackle?
people were talking about how he was doing like the one with the rollover, but I was so impressed by when he ran straight up the gut and then just like bounced it all outside because he didn't get tackled and he scored the rush. Now, yeah, he's an explosive rusher.
He's unbelievable. Brandon Rosales, Dontavian Wicks for Najee Harris. Yes, Najee is not in a good spot for me, and that's another team with offensive line injuries, and now a more crowded backfield with Jaylen Warren. I don't know about this one. I think I want the upside of Wicks. I know that might sound crazy.
No, I don't think you sound crazy. And this is one of these short-term game versus long-term game.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could look and say, hey, Najee's got a good matchup this week. I could flip him for Wicks. You'll play Najee. He'll be better. Wicks, let's say, he's not as productive as he was last week. But then you have Najee on your team for the rest of the season. And I don't know if I want that. So it's something that I'm trying to think more about when it comes to these making trades is, once you acquire a guy, it's then hard again to try to trade him away again. Like you can think, oh, I'll flip him after he has a great game, but what if nobody wants to buy Najee, right? That's usually kind of what people want to do anyway, is not go after Najee Harris. So I get the idea of buying low on him because he has a good matchup this week, but rest of the season, I think I'd much rather have Wicks.
By looking at the chat today, Travis Etienne is going to be the most traded player this week. It seems like everybody wants to trade him, which means you should probably be picking up Tank Bigsby wherever you can. Here's a fun one from Chris. Mike Evans for Garrett Wilson. I want Mike Evans right now. I did until further notice.
I don't think you need to get off of Mike. Look, Mike Evans, there's no reason to be worried about him. He's just going to have 1,000 yards, score 10 touchdowns, and you're going to be happy. So just keep him on your team.
This next one here, Chris Godwin and James Conner for CeeDee Lamb. I don't think that's enough for Lamb, but
I mean, I think Godwin's outscored CeeDee Lamb up to this point, and James Conner has been an RB1. So I think it's
this is the classic sell high, buy low, though. Like,
hey, what's wrong with
other two guys are
that's why they call them the classics.
It's a classic. All right, last one here from DZ. Is Hawkinson a buy? He's been cleared to practice. Tight end is crap. You buying Mr. Hawkinson?
I was thinking about Hawkinson, and he could still be the tight end 1 after missing almost 6 weeks of the season. He could still finish as tight end 1. Imagine having that take before the year being Hawkinson, number 1 tight end fantasy, and they'll be like, "Oh, points per game." No, overall. And
that's
he has
not crazy.
He has.
I can't top that. We have to end the show because I can't top that. Don't forget, everybody, drop your comments below, subscribe to the channel, and you might win the latest Trophy Smack giveaway, the Wall Smack. Again, look at these. These things are amazing, and they could be yours. You get to pick which one you like, too. We're not just throwing one at you. You get to choose. Again, the Erickson one sold out. There's 2 Joey P's left. And there's like 100 Derrick Browns. He's not nearly as popular. But if you want this, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel, ring the bell till it goes ding, and drop your comment below. That's it. We're giving it away next week. And of course, don't forget to join our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat. It's free. It's fun. It's a great way to get your questions answered and a great way to be on our shows and be a part of our Fantasy Pros community. And last but not least, if you need more help making trades, finding trades, use the trade analyzer and all of the tools over on My Playbook. Download the app today, or just go to fantasypros.com/myplaybook. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Happy trading. Man, everybody hates Etienne.
Everyone loves Tank Bigsby.
All the Bigsby. No Dolphins.